Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Sniper Elite, the board game. Sniper Elite is brought to you by Rebellion Unplugged. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 16 and up, and games range anywhere from 40 to 70 minutes. So Sniper Elite is a stealth action game. One player is the sniper, secretly moving from space to space and attempting to complete 2 objectives before the time runs out. Up to 3 defender players are trying to either wound the sniper twice, killing them, or defend the objectives until the sniper runs out of time. Sniper Elite does feature a bag manipulation element. The sniper draws chits from a bag to target the defenders, though a canny defense can decrease the sniper's likelihood of making their shot. All right, quick look at setup. We have the main board. Well, what's cool here is the sniper gets a dry erase board that mimics, actually is exactly like this larger board, and it's fantastic for tracking your movements and everything you're doing as the sniper. Really cool. And the fact that it's dry erase is pretty handy indeed. Now, the thing with the sniper is they have loadout cards, and these cards are varied, and you get to pick 3 of them. Now, you've got things like sound masking, silenced ammo, distraction tactics, and a teller mine. These are crucial to help you throughout the game. Now, there's 14 of these cards, but you're going to pick 3 of them. And there are objective cards. Now, what's important about these objective cards is that when you're drawing them, you're going to shuffle them up and draw 2 randomly. But you can't have 2 objectives in the same areas. And that's important to note. On the main board, you'll see color-coded areas where you'll be moving through and where the defenders are based. So your objectives have to encompass 2 separate areas. And in this case, the 2 objectives we drew were to destroy the fuel reserves, which is in the green zone, and then in the yellow zone, we're supposed to sabotage the submarine, because how cool is that? Oh my gosh, yes. So the objectives in this game are really neat, and there's a ton of different ones. And again, you as the sniper have to complete 2 of those objectives before the time runs out. Now, these objectives also are very thematic to how you receive them on these playing cards, kind of hidden objectives, secret to you, and a way you might receive them in the spy world is pretty cool. And then you're going to take the bag and you're going to load it up. This is your shot bag. When you take a shot as the sniper, you're going to be drawing from this bag, and it'll be up to you how many tokens, or cubes in this case, because we are using this prototype, but it'll be up to you to how many of these you're going to draw. But let's take a look at what you're going to preload this with. First, you have 6 black cubes, and these cubes are going to represent your aiming ability. And then you're going to load 2 red cubes, which is your noise, how much noise you're making. Hopefully you don't draw too many of these when you're taking a shot. And then you have 3 yellow cubes that you're going to be loading into the bag, which these are your recoil. Now we'll get to what all this means when you actually are drawing to take a shot, but this is definitely one of those fun, really fun aspects of this game as you play the sniper. Now, before the defenders get set up, the last thing the sniper will do is take their dry erase board and mark the position where they'll be entering the board. And there are several locations around the side. You'll see there's a little arrow. That's where you're positioned to come into the board. Now, the defenders, they're in different colors. You've got yellow, green, and red. So you place them out in their particular spots. And there are officers and soldiers. The officers will be placed on the star. Now, the officers are important because each of the officers have their own special abilities, which each of them, you'll place a token, 2 tokens, on each of those cards, showing that they can perform their special abilities twice per game. The other tokens will be placed over on the timer. These are your action tokens for when you take actions. They'll move down the track, getting ever closer to stopping the sniper from completing their objectives. Now, the sniper always gets to go first. So you get to move and take an action, or you can take an action and move. It's up to you to determine what order is best for this particular turn. Now, there are places on the board that will cost you extra movement, so you got to keep that in mind as you move through the different areas. They have the footprint out on the board. Obviously, if you're moving over a box or something like that, it's going to take more movement. Now, you have 2 different types of movement. You can sneak for 0 to 1 spaces, or you can run for 2 to 3 spaces, and running will give away your position. But you don't have to notify the defenders where you've been until the end of your turn, so they don't know what order you've done things in. But once you do give away your position at the end of your turn, they will mark whatever spots that you call out with white cubes. And on your dry erase board, you'll mark off the countdown number over on the right, as well as using arrows to show where you've moved on the map to this point. All right, now you have actions you can perform, or maybe you've already done these, but let's take a closer look at what your possible actions are. These actions are taking a shot, looting an objective space, completing an objective, and of course, using your loadout cards. Now, taking a shot is the fun, right? You're gonna be drawing cubes from the bag. You have to declare up front how many cubes you're gonna draw. And you're looking at the space between you and your target. You need to draw enough black cubes to cover that distance, except for the space you're in. So, and if you do, you will take out your target and kill it. However, the defenders have lots of soldiers, so they will get them back. But the main thing here is if you draw noise, which is the red cubes, those red cubes are going to give away your position. Now, the enemy doesn't know if you took a shot and then moved. You may have done that. So you may not be where they thought they heard the shot come from. That's why you declare what you've done at the end of your turn, or for noise, I should say, where you were perhaps. And then you have yellow cubes, which is that recoil. Now, if you have a combination of yellow and red that encompasses 5 of those, well, then your weapon, your rifle will jam and you're not going to get that shot off. And there are even blue cubes that you can get that will cancel out the red noise tokens. So there's all kinds of things that can happen with this bag, but again, you have to declare up front how many of these tokens you're going to pull from the bag. Or you're going to be looting an objective space. That's one of the numbered spots on the boards. It's very, very simple. You're just drawing 2 cards from the top of the loadout deck, keeping one card and discarding the other, or actually shuffling it back into the deck for later use. But this is a great way to get additional loadout cards through the game. Now, you can only loot spaces that are not your current objective, and you can't loot a space more than once throughout the game. So that's a great way to get additional cards, or you might just be completing an objective. And if you're on a space where you have that objective, you'll flip your card over, but the defenders do go on high alert from that. So you'll add 1 red noise cube to your bag. And after completing that first objective, that will reset the timer back to 10. Okay, so you do have those loadout cards, and it's important to note that loadout cards do not use one of your actions, but you will place it face down in front of you if you so choose to play it on this particular turn. Now, on the card will dictate when you have to reveal that. It might be your silenced ammo or whatever, but it will show you on the card when you have to flip it over and show that you've used it. But each of these loadout cards are a one-time use. Now let's take a look at defenders, and there's always 3 squads of defenders, regardless of the player count. So you'll be controlling these and obviously cooperatively working together in order to track down the sniper and wound them for 2 in order to win. Okay, so you have one of your big options on your turn is to do intel. If you choose to do intel, you're not moving or doing any other actions. Intel will force you to move the markers down the timer over here on the right, and then declare and say, hey, I'm the green defenders. Are you the sniper in any of these spots in the green area? Trying to kind of isolate them, find them on the board. You're actually using intel to figure this out. It's very thematic, I like it. Or you're doing actions, and there's several actions to choose from. Let's take a look at the quick, easy ones first. If one of your defenders or your officer was destroyed or killed by the sniper, they've been moved off the board, but you can move them back to the board. If it's an officer, you have to move them back to their spot. But if it's one of the soldiers, then you can move a soldier to adjacent of your officer on the board. Or you can simply just dismiss one of your units from the board and move them off. Or you can move up to 2 spaces. And obviously you can choose to take a shot in your current location. And if the sniper is there, they will receive a wound. And obviously you'll know where they are for that particular moment in time, but they will receive a wound, mark it on their board, and so forth. And then you also have the option of sweeping. Now it has to be terrain type of the same kind, but you'll sweep 3 locations adjacent to you, basically. So your spot and 2 others. And you're saying, hey, I'm gonna do a sweep of this area, And if the sniper is in any of those spots, they have to say, yes, I'm there somewhere. So you can at least mark and kind of get an idea of where they might be. So that's one option as well. Or you can do a spot check on an adjacent location. And if the sniper is there, they have to place their token or their miniature out so you can see them. And you've made noise, so you're going to add a red cube or token to the bag. Now the officers all have their own special actions they can perform also that you can do on the defender's turn, but these actions can only be performed twice per game, and you'll move the tokens off their card to indicate that they've been taken. But again, these all have different abilities. You got things like the medic and so forth, but these really add a lot of abilities, and you be mindful about when you use them in those critical situations. And what's interesting in this type of game, typically the player that is moving around secretly is the bad guy, but not this time. The sniper is the good guy. The defenders are the bad ones. So keep that in mind. And at the end of the defender's turn, if they've declared or hit the sniper for 2 wounds, then the defenders win. Again, a couple of things to take note of on this board is just the fact that you have to be mindful of line of sight. So keep that in mind as you play and take shots and so forth. There's also all the different terrain types, and as you move around, taking into account how much more movement it takes to go through certain areas. Now, the end of the game is triggered when the sniper completes both of their objectives. The sniper would win. But the defenders have a couple different ways to win. Obviously, like we said, if they are able to wound the sniper for 2, then the defenders win. And if the defenders start with their action tokens on the last spot, the countdown timer, then the defenders will win. The sniper has run out of time. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, this game is absolutely dripping with theme. And if you like hidden movement in games, this is definitely going to be something you want to check out. I like how the collaborative nature is of the defenders and how it encourages so much conversation around the table. And as the sniper, I really like that they went with the dry erase board for tracking all your movements. And of course, my favorite bit about the game is pulling cubes from the bag, represented by taking a shot. Really, really cool. But ultimately, folks, if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.